Today, we're going to take a closer look at an interesting topic, the challenger customer, and why this topic today matters for building service contracting company owners and leaders. To start, tell me if you can relate to this. All too often, deals stall not because the service isn't strong, but because the customer can't align internally. Frustrating, you might say. With this in mind, we'll explore how bringing insight, structure, and confidence into the buying process can help cleaning companies move conversations forward without defaulting to price-based selling. And to do this, I'm joined by a regular guest and friend, Jeff Carmen. He's a coach and consultant with Elite BSC. Jeff, how are you and your brick wall doing?
Me and the brick wall are doing great. It looks some people think I'm broadcasting out of a prison, but I'm not. I'm in the office.
You're not in Kentucky State Prison?
No, I'm not. It looks like it though.
Yeah, I love it. I like that natural look. I've talked to other people who have a brick or a natural stone
Yeah,
behind them. It looks good.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
but Jeff, yeah, let's get into our topic today. And I understand today's discussion is based on a book and there's a story behind it. Now, I've not read that
Mhm.
book, but you have. Why don't you talk about that? Tell us about why janitorial company owners and leaders pay attention to this, or they should pay attention to this.
And the name of the book is called The Challenger Customer. It's got a subtitle. It's Selling to the Hidden Influencer That Can Multiply Your Results. And these are the same folks that wrote the book called The Challenger Sale. And the Challenger Sale is all about business to business sales. And their kind of the main brux of that book is the fact that they say that relationships aren't really the what drives B2B sales. What drives B2B sales is challenging or educating or teaching a customer about unique insights, about different ways to frame the problem. And what's interesting when you pair these books together, it was a challenger sell first, and then the challenger customer, and they outline four different types of buyers that we encounter in this B2B setting. They are the talker, the blockers, the skeptics, and the mobilizers. And it's that mobilizer is that person who can maximize your results when you find that person and you can sell to them.
Well, we should sell that book right here, but I don't have any copies. So,
Right, right. Yeah.
well, Jeff, I know we've talked about this in the past, and it's a conversation I hear like at ISSA show. It's about selling based on price. It's
Mm,
very common to talk about that, and a belief many companies have that they're losing work because of that,
right.
because of the price. But from what you read in the book and your own experience, what is usually the real reason a deal may stall or fall apart?
Yeah, it's a great question. And a lot of us, and I'm guilty of coming back and saying, well, we didn't get the deal because of the price. We're all guilty of that. The two real reasons that they talk about in the book, and really what I've discovered is that in a lot of cases, just customer or the people we're selling to with janitorial services in particular, just good enough or mediocre service is fine with them. They don't understand that there's a cost associated with that. So there's not a lot of momentum to make changes. And then secondly is that especially on complex sales with multiple people, is internal buying decisions can can kind of clog the path. And so really price becomes the excuse. So they tell you it's price, but really what they're saying is what we have is okay. There's risk associated with changing. And also we just can't get on the same page here internally to make a decision.
That sounds like a challenge for sure.
It is.
Yeah,
Hence the name, I guess.
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, thinking about this framework, how it was developed originally for complex multi-stakeholder sales, not every company is like that. Let's talk about the companies selling smaller or more routine janitorial contracts, because they're a big part of the industry.
They are, and I would say that you're right in that there's typically in a smaller client or a smaller prospective customer, there's not three to four, five to six people associated involved in the buying process. But I think it still works in that the premise that they brought out in the Challenger sale is rather than talking about inspections and what we do, talk about how our service will be something that will solve their problems. And so their problems are distractions and those kinds of things. So focusing on that. And then also, I think picking up some things from the Challenger customer is when you're engaged with a person, let's say you're only dealing with one person and a smaller customer, trying to discern if they're a skeptic or they're a who they are in that process and speak language that would help them make a decision, because that's ultimately what we're trying to do in sales is create, kind of build a story that helps that customer say it's worth the risk associated with moving forward with your company based on what you're telling me.
Now, going back to something you mentioned earlier, teaching the customers,
Mm.
educating them
Mhm.
instead of simply responding to their requests. Talk about what that looks like in the actual sales negotiation, that conversation you're having. Because we can say, yeah, you got to teach your customers, educate them, but
Yeah.
what's that really mean?
Yeah, teaching or custom. What I would say is teaching the customer or challenging. Yeah, I don't. When I first read it, I thought challenging. It's like you're kind of, almost being rude. But it's just reframing it and saying, hey, what is the cost associated to you? Cost. I'll put it in quotes. Cost associated with interruptions to your day because people are emailing you with concerns, or that your supervisor who you work for is a little frustrated with the fact that cleaning the building is your decision and kind of your responsibility, and it's not being done very well. And then also the cost associated with employee morale. I mean, if especially in larger customers, we deal with a lot of manufacturing facilities and the like, and restrooms and break rooms in those areas can be a real morale builder or morale terror downer, I guess, but deterrent. But so reframing the problem and moving away from what we do into how this is going to improve your life personally and the people that work in your building.
Maybe morale destroyer would be a good term.
There it is. Yes, I just couldn't. Yeah, my
Well,
hard drive wasn't working fast enough.
well, we don't want to put those words together. That's why you don't want to
Right.
destroy morale. But
That's right. That's right.
this theme of this book really is making sense now that we're talking about it. Because, like I said, I haven't read it, but I'm glad you brought this up. Um, The Challenger Customer, the book, if there was just one idea that a cleaning company business owner that you would recommend they implement, what would you recommend they do starting right now?
Is spend time, put on paper these ideas of how you're going to challenge or educate the customer. Write them out, practice them, make them flow easily, so that when you're engaged with a prospective customer, that you can ask questions like, "What happens if you submit a request to your current vendor and they don't respond for a couple of hours? Does that stay on your brain?" Just kind of think through those and get those down on paper. And then if you've got a salesperson, teaching that salesperson, I guess training that salesperson to identify the various kinds of buyers and helping them identify that modify or that person who's a mobilizer, because that's really the person that's going to be able to push the deal across the finish line.
Earlier you talked about challenging the customer. I could see that as a negative. Depends how it's presented. I'm going to challenge you, Jeff, to something that sounds like work, and maybe a fail could happen there. But this is a different spin. This is more like making everything better.
That's right. Yes, that's right. So it's all about helping. Again, I think it's like you turn the frame a little bit and say, I think that our company can help reduce distractions that'll make you more productive. It'll increase the morale of the people here at your company and also reinforce you as a good decision maker to the people who your colleagues and your supervisors. Yeah, it is. It's a different way of selling. And it's not really selling, it's educating.
Exactly. Well, we're out of time, Jeff. Any final words of advice to share as we close?
I think the thing is in janitorial sales, we need to make the decision to do business with our company feel safe. And because you can't test drive our services, there's a certain amount of risk in making a change. And so we need to make that safe. And we also need to recognize that our biggest competitor is not another cleaning company. It's the internal process sometimes that gets in the way. And so we need to keep those two things in mind as we march forward in selling these services.